Welcome back to the Old Grappler. We're coming from the coffee shop today. So, hey, today we have Chris. I'll let you introduce yourself, what belt rank you are, and how long you've been training.
I'm a brown belt, and I've been training like 2015, 2016. I have my brown belt for like 2 years, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm training. Like I said earlier, I'm not really training. I don't have a membership at a gym. I was helping out at started gym for a little bit. That didn't work out, and then right now I'm actually paying like a drop-in fee at a really cool place called Brujitsu.
Mm-hmm.
The place is pretty awesome because there's this guy Dwayne that runs it,
Mm-hmm.
and he owns they sell like brew kits, like how to brew your own beer at home. And he shows people how to brew their own beer. And then in his warehouse, you go upstairs and there's like a 40 by 40 mat. And it's a whole bunch of guys that used to be with Daniel Thomas, Bodyworks, and they just opened their own spot. And sure enough, they do have a keg on tap. And so on Fridays, like last night on Fridays, you literally get off the mat, you finish rolling, and that's why it's called Brujitsu.
Nice.
But everybody there is just fucking really, really cool. And so,
where's this place at?
Seaside.
Seaside, okay.
And then prior to that, I was actually with Raul Quintero in Watsonville at Jiu-Jitsu Therapy.
Mm-hmm.
That place was great. That place was really great. I think
that's the one on the second floor?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went there for a coffee crew one time.
Yeah, and like I actually really like when I was talking to Raul, like kind of before I started joining him, he's just like, I call it Jiu-Jitsu Therapy because it's therapy. Like you should come here, leave all your BS behind.
Right.
You come on in, we just roll. And Raul's a really good instructor too. He's real technical. Like I always have this thing about, you ever get like a teacher that's a long talker?
Yeah.
Raul's a long talker, but he's a good long talker because he'll like, all right, I want you to like angle your wrist this way right here. I want you to do this. I want you to tuck your elbow. All right, your weight's going to be on your foot. Like he'll break down a specific move in a long way, but he'll break down little parts of that move so you're doing a little bit better compared to some people that just
right.
You know,
okay, go try it.
Yeah, and I think I don't know why. Like I always have these things about like different coaches that came into your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like so I wrestled for a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll get into that, but I wrestled for a little bit, and one of the guys that was my college coach, the only guy that was my college coach, was Coach Jensen. And Coach Jensen actually, because when you teach at a school, like a state school, you actually get educated for free. So while he was teaching there and being a coach, he would constantly go to class. And so he got all these different degrees on kinesiology. And so I don't know if he was like he had several different masters and then beyond that. And I know he had like 4 or 5 different degrees on something that based. And I think I always remember something that he said, like, you learn by movement. You learn by movement. Like you got to do the move to learn the move. Don't like, so when I always have this thing about long talkers, like let us do the move. Let us do the move. So, but Raul was a really good coach. And then he also runs the business with his wife, Adriana. And she's one thing that's really, I loved about like when she taught class, she's a purple belt. She's a physical therapist. And so she would do these like, your warm-ups were probably like stretching, and she did like different stretches where it like worked really well. And I always felt better like after her warm-ups. And I kind of like, I'd go on Tuesday and Thursday to look forward to her warm-ups. Like just like move your hand this way, put your palm up this way, or right here, shoulder down this way. You know what? All right, reach here. All right, you're going to go do this. And she'd break down specific stretches and broke it down really well. So I had a good time with them, and everybody's really cool over there too. So
nice.
Yeah. But then I wasn't with them, and then I was training for this last Masters, so I kind of did it myself.
So what brought you into the sport of jiu-jitsu?
It kind of resonates with, I was thinking about this for a while, and it kind of resonates like with the name of your podcast. I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but like I wrestled for a little while. And I don't know if I was listening to like Joe Rogan podcast or somebody's podcast, but just the idea of not being a wrestler, being a grappler.
Right.
Just being a grappler. Like it's cool to be known as a wrestler, but I think I would like to be known as a grappler,
Mm-hmm.
like ground. Like, and I wasn't going to do judo because that's not too good at an old age.
Right.
And I remember years ago, I was actually hanging out with somebody that did jujitsu, like when I was living up in Sacramento.
Uh-huh.
And I was kind of tipsy, and I was like, whatever. That's, yeah, okay, it's cool, but I think a wrestler's going to do, oh, no. I was like, I was kind of hating on it because it wasn't wrestling.
Right.
But then I think the more that I kind of looked into it, more of this, and I got to admit, I was also getting kind of tired of my regular workouts. And I was like, all right, I got to give this a try.
Mm-hmm.
And so I initially started up in, I'm not going to name names, but I started this one gym. And I don't think I got that much out of it because the way that the class structure was like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, it was like fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only for 1 hour, I mean, from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. And one of the reasons why I'd go at that time is because I lived about an hour and a half away, but that place was next to my work. And so if I cut out the traffic, because if I left like at 7 a.m., I wouldn't get to my work till like 9. I'd be late. But if I left at 5:15, I could get to that gym at 6 a.m. for a 7 a.m. workout. But what was crazy is it was all white belts and one blue belt. And sometimes the instructor would literally not show up. So like by 6:10, everybody would be looking around, be like, and it was kind of an ongoing joke, be like, is he going to show today?
Oh, wow.
I don't know. And then the blue belt would be like, I guess I'm teaching class. All right. And so, and that's how.
At least you didn't have to go home.
Yeah, at least, And then, so Monday, Wednesday, Fridays was like 30 minutes warm ups. You learn one move, took off. And then Tuesday and Thursday was, sparring.
Okay.
And I only went to one sparring class. And at that time, I was just like way out of shape. I think I lasted like 3 minutes before getting triangled. And I was like, all right, I'm done. And so, but I still kind of knew like I needed to do jujitsu. But I know like my clock technically started like, I think it was November 2015. But that wasn't like wasn't a great place. So,
wasn't a great initial experience.
I think I kind of dipped my toes in the water, but not like,
Right.
it wasn't like, oh my God, this is jujitsu. So, and then in April 2016, I actually started right here.
Okay.
What's funny is like, and what's really weird is I don't know how I came up with it, but the day like I walked in and kind of like know like, 'cause I moved back down to Gilroy.
Uh-huh.
She got a divorce. She got Sacramento. I got come home to Gilroy. I literally knew that like I was like, all right, I got to do this for 10 years. I got to do this for 10 years. I don't care what belt I am. I don't care whatever, this, that. I just got to do this for 10 years. And so, I remember the day that I walked in here, a guy named Ed Solis was teaching.
Oh, yeah.
You know Ed? He owns Old Man Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
And he's a funny guy. And I just literally came in like my business attire. I got off work. I was like, hey, I need to sign up and pay. And he goes and like sits down. And he's like, wait, hold on. I haven't seen you before. You know we do a free trial, right? I was like, well, I'm just really paying. Nah, man, just take the free money, dude. You just go. Yeah, just I'll come back next week and pay. I'm like, all right, man. Okay. Like, all right. Okay. So I'll see you later. And I go, hey, the other thing I fun it because I had the old gym's gi.
Uh-huh.
I go, hey, do I have to wear like a specific gi or something like that? Nah, man, I don't give a shit. Just come on, whatever you got. Ed's a character. Ed's literally like, when he taught class, it was called Jokes and Jokes with Ed. And he was like a funny guy to like learn from because it's not like, when you stress out, like, okay, God. He'd be talking about like crazy jokes when like growing up in East LA. So,
yeah.
And he was, he's a funny guy. But then like a week later, I paid. But what was funny about that, and I always wanted, like, if I ever got my black belt through him, I would actually kind of make fun about that. I remember sitting down and he's just like, and I'm already thinking like, I don't know if I'm going to do it here, but I'm going to do this sport for 10 years. And it was in my mind was like, that's going to match the amount of time that I wrestled.
Mhm.
And that's going to, in my mind, validate me as a grappler.
Yeah. Okay.
So even before I started jiu-jitsu, I just like, I need to be a grappler. I want to be a grappler. I want to be known as a grappler. And so, I remember the day that I started paying, and the guy told me, he goes, "Oh yeah. If you don't like it and quit, you just give us a month." And I'm like, I remember leaving, and be like, that is not very encouraging. And so, and I was there for several years, and so, and then I didn't even know, like I've been competing for a little while in jiu-jitsu.
Mhm.
I didn't even know you could compete in jiu-jitsu.
Oh, really?
No, it wasn't until like Ed Solis, that guy. Uh, hey man, I didn't, because then also like when I went there, I didn't like come in like, hey man, I used to wrestle for a long time. Oh yeah, cool.
Mhm.
I just was like, all right, cool. And I think it was senior can't shoot.
Yes.
I was rolling with him, sparring with him, and he's just like, "You wrestled, huh?" I was, yeah, I wrestled. Yeah, I could tell. I could tell. I could tell. And he was just, I remember looking, yeah, I could tell. And I was like, and he's like, "How long?" I was like, "Well, and I'm always kind of, I don't say that too much. I go, "Well, I wrestled in high school, JC in college." Huh? Really? I was like, yeah. And then when it started talking, they started to talk about competitions. I remember Ed Solis was just like, "Hey, you got to compete." I go, what are you talking about? I don't want to compete with these young kids. I'm in my 40s, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, what the fuck? You got to compete with guys your own age, man. Like me, I'm a 10-time world champ. Like, really? You're 10-time world champ? Really? And I didn't know that they break it down like blue belt.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, really? You're 10-time world champ? Like, holy shit. Do I get your autograph?
Yeah.
Do I get your autograph? And I'm like, okay. But then like, he's like, no, man, you can go do this like here, and then, we go down to LA, we, go to Las Vegas. And I'm like, that sounds fun. That sounds fun. And
Yeah.
I was just also like, I'm going to get beaten up by these young kids. But yeah, if I get to compete against somebody in the 40s, yeah, sign me up. And I think also another guy that was also kind of instrumental at that time was John Magoo.
Mhm.
And he's, do you know who John is?
Mm-mm.
John actually helped start Gilroy. And then he ended up moving to Reno. And he actually is a co-owner of a place up there called Black Diamond Jiu-Jitsu. And so,
Okay.
and he's also a Claudio Franco black belt as well too.
Nice.
And he was also like encouraging, like, yeah, man, why don't you compete? Why don't you compete, dude? Like, he's like, maybe get that fire back. And I got to admit, it kind of, because in jiu-jitsu, you just go like, all right, take the classes, whatever. But then competing kind of put a little bit of fire into me, like, all right, well, I'm going to get in shape. All right, well, that's a goal. All right, well, I'm going to achieve that goal. Okay, I got to cut weight. I've never been good at cutting weight. And I'm shitty. I'm horrible. Talk about that. And people trip out when I tell them, I never cut weight in wrestling. I always just came in I always just walked in, whatever. Like, and people are like, what? No. You probably like spit in a bag, or you probably, I might have cut like 1 or 2 times, like 2 pounds, 3 pounds, but then that's it.
Yeah.
And I just usually I always came under weight. So, but yeah, like I think I kind of, Gilroy was really cool. It was also like kind of a new experience because like Magoo was always having like those 30-minute warm-ups, then they show the move and then they spar. And I remember like thinking like, did you guys spar every class? He goes, and everybody in class was like, yeah, we spar. Like, holy shit, really? Spar? Okay. That's someplace cool. And everybody's really cool. But then I also found out I wasn't really healthy because I started like sparring more and I thought I was getting in good shape. I'm like, all right. But I wasn't like lasting like the full 5 minutes. I was like at 4 minutes, and I went to the doctor and they're like, oh yeah, well, how long have you had asthma? I was like, I have asthma? They're like, yeah, it looks like you had it for a while. Oh shit.
Oh, wow.
And so I started to have to get the inhalers. One time I used to have I have 2 to 3 different inhalers, and I'd have to take them before work. No, two, a Brio and Ventolin. I still have to need them from time to time. Yeah, I mean, COVID fucked me up too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got a lot of post like COVID effects. So, but yeah, like I think I found my niche in competing. And competing is fun for me, and you got to travel a little bit with it too. So that's about it.
So talking about competing, um,
I think
I know you talked about worlds. You competed at worlds a few times, right? You won.
uh, I've actually only at Blue Belt Worlds one time. But I don't even count that one because like it was kind of shitty because I don't see anybody in my division at
Uh,
220. And so I didn't feel like cutting weight. So I just went to ultra heavy. There's nobody there. And they're just like, oh, here's a medal. And I thought there'd be more people in absolutes. And initially there's like 4 guys that signed up. And one thing that like with me, with competing, and I don't think a lot of people do this, but I research.
mhm.
So I'll look to see who's in the division. I'll look at their records. I'll look at their videos. I'll do all that stuff before. And I saw there was 2 guys signed up for the absolutes that were like good competitors. One was at a 205 guy, and the other one was like a 198 too. And I'm like, all right, cool. Okay, I want to compete against these guys. And then they didn't show up. And, so then I won the absolutes, competing against a guy that's like 135 pounds. So I won that one, but it doesn't really count. What's funny about that match also, like, and we have it on video, the guy pulled guard, and I picked him up and walked around the mat, and I brought him over to like where all my team was. So hold on, and he was like literally only like 135 pounds.
Jeez.
And then my first masters in the gi. Oh, sure. Sorry about that. Before, I also competed at PANS.
Mhm.
Like I think I got my blue belt in like November, and then February we went to PANS and I took second. But what sucked was I got sick. Remember I told you I have like asthma?
Mhm.
So it comes and goes. And I got bronchitis, and I went to the emergency room on Monday, and they gave me a bunch of treatments, and I got the inhalers, and I think I called, my coaches. I go, hey, I'm not going to compete. I'm literally, I think I sent them a picture of me in the emergency room, like, hey, it's bad. And by Wednesday, I was starting to feel a little bit better. And my wife, or my girlfriend at the time, was like, you should just compete. Let's just go down there. Let's just go down there. Just go compete. Fuck it. You've already paid. You're not getting your money back. Just go. I was like, all right. But also like, she wanted me to go. She wanted us to go because that's also where all her family is, and her favorite cousin Irma's down there.
Mhm.
And so I don't say she has an ulterior motive, but it's like an incentive.
Yeah.
It was actually really cool because when Pans was down there, my girlfriend, wife, Eva, would just be like, go, there's a tournament down there? Yeah, go sign up. Well, I'll go see my cousin, drop me off, and you go do your tournament. I'm like, all right, cool. But now they switched Pans to Florida. So,
Mm.
but yeah, the first Pans, technically I was sick. And then I went in and I lost in the finals and I got thrown. Like I ended up going against this Brazilian that was like a judo black belt, and he threw me and cracked the rib.
Oh, fuck.
And keep in mind, I was still like getting over being sick.
Mm.
So the drive home from Los Angeles with a cracked rib and post effects of bronchitis was not fun. Probably one of the worst drives I've ever had. So like, remember, it was like one of the few times I had to tell like Eva, like, you drive. I don't like her driving, but I was like, you drive. And I was sitting in the back, like coughing, crack rib. It sucked. And so, but then my first Worlds, I ended up losing the first round, the second round.
Shit.
Well, I lost in the second round, and it kind of put me back down, but like the guy that I lost to ended up winning it.
Oh, okay.
So I always joke around that, tell people like, for my competitions, I have a bunch of silvers, and I lost to that guy the second round. So I've literally only lost to like Pans and world champions. That's about it. Same thing with this time. This Masters was the first time I took bronze, and I'm losing to the champ. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you talked a little bit about wrestling. Um, what what other sports besides wrestling, or was it just wrestling before jiu-jitsu?
No, it was actually, I don't know how, like I mean, I have an idea, but I was also not bad at football.
Okay.
So at Gilroy, I was like a 2-year starter. I was an outside linebacker. And then my senior year, uh, I was a two-way starter. I started a tight end and also started an outside linebacker. And I was a captain. And kind of related to that, like going into junior college, my parents were like, "Oh, you're going to wrestle, just wrestle," because they liked the coach. And the coach was actually a family friend. But one of the reasons why I chose San Francisco State at the time, because I did 2 years of wrestling at Gavilan Junior College.
Uh,
And at the end of that 2 years, I was like, fuck this. I hate this sport. I fucking retire. I quit. I don't want to do this thing anymore. And I thought I was done. And I was like, all right, I'm going to walk on somewhere and I'll play football. And probably about a month or 2 months after JC wrestling was done, Coach Jensen from San Francisco State called me. And he goes, hey, man, would you be interested in wrestling at Division II? You know, we don't have scholarships, but you can be a walk-on. And I was like, no, I really want to play football. He's like, cool, no problem. I was like, what? He goes, we have a football team, and I have another guy that's on the wrestling team as well as the football team. So you can play football if you want. I was like, holy shit, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm in. Two sport athlete in college, fuck yeah, I'm in.
mm-hmm.
And then the more that I looked into San Francisco State, like I have a degree in hospitality management. At the time, they were number 2 in the West Coast in that program. Kind of close to home. Don't want to say I'm a mama's boy, but don't be close to home. All my buddies literally went up to Chico.
Uh-huh.
My parents were like, "You're gonna go up there and get drunk the whole time. Just go to San Francisco State." Not to say get away from my buddies, but like get away from your Gilroy friends. Just be on yourself for a little while, and that was a good thing because none of them got degrees, and I got a degree. Don't get me wrong. I used to go up to. I don't know if I want to say this on camera, but sorry. I used to go visit Chico from time to time, visit all my Gilroy buddies. And, one time it even got me in trouble with wrestling, but that's another story. But I used to also bring out my San Francisco buddies up there, and they'd be like, "Oh my god, this San Francisco State is a commuter school. Like there's no big parties. Literally, the biggest party of the year." The wrestling team threw it. I was at my house. That's I could, dude. If my one buddy's at my, they never laugh. They have crazy stories about that. All right, so back to wrestling. Yeah.
When did you get started in wrestling?
8th grade. One thing that's actually like South Valley Junior High is just literally right over there. Gilroy, I think I was lucky. Like I was talking to a buddy the other day, they thought I was kind of full of shit. If I look at my wrestling career, I think I was lucky because, I was never the greatest wrestler, but I have to be like on 3 really, really good teams.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about wrestling, everybody talks just what did you do individually. Nobody talks like, hey, how good was your team, right?
Right.
Like the way that Gilroy used to only have one junior high.
Mm-hmm.
And the PE coach was a guy named Bert Marr. Like if you look now, Bert, the gymnasium is named after Bert Marr.
Mm.
He's just like this huge figure in the wrestling community. And what he instituted was every single boy in junior high wrestled. They taught wrestling in PE. He was a PE coach. Him and Coach Fahey were the PE coaches. And they all taught wrestling. And if you're a good wrestler, hey, you're going out for I don't even think like they asked you like, hey, would you like to wrestle? Like, hey, you're going out for the wrestling team. Okay. And he's like this, large figure. Oh, he's not even a big guy. And so him and Coach Fahey ran the wrestling program. And for a while, like 20 years straight, 20-something years, they were undefeated in dual meets. They had all they had all these county champions. And Coach Marr was just this figure where they said in 1965 when he graduated high school, he was like undefeated. He won they didn't have state tournament at that time, so you just won the Northern Californians.
Mm-hmm.
And so he won that being undefeated year. And I think he also wrestled in junior college. But he's just like this coach that just had all these like quick one-liners like meat. Like he literally got called a meathead all the time. Hey, meathead, or like. And the other funny one is like, check the oil, check, like to go for like the single, check the oil, check the. And also,
That's not the same anymore.
yeah, you can't. There's a lot of stuff you can't do anymore. I got some funny stories about that. And so he ran that, and what's also very fortunate is he had two sons, Bertie and Sergio was my year, and so I wrestled with Sergio all throughout my career, except for San Francisco State. So you wrestled, everybody wrestled, and then the junior high program probably at one time had about 100 kids, and then from there, he also ran the Hawks program, which is like an after-school program, and he pretty much encourages everybody, hey, you do the Hawks, or you're gonna do the Hawks, and then we wrestled year round, and then you go into Gilroy, and at the time, there's my coach at the time was Coach Ogle. And Coach Ogle is just like this large figure. Like I think he's 6'4", probably 280. And
good coach for the heavyweights.
Yeah. And he even like at one time, like we had a really good heavyweight named Mark Rios. And like it was like the 190 pounder was only 190. And then we had no other heavyweight. Mark was probably like 275, like he had a cut to suit 275. And so Coach Ogle had to jump in and always be his partner. And I remember we were in a team meeting one time. He goes, I don't like when I was supposed to see Mark. Mark's fucking strong. Like Mark was strong. And so, but Gilroy was a pretty cool experience. Like I happened to be, like I wasn't, like in 8th grade, I wasn't a good wrestler. I didn't even make the varsity team. But then I went to Hawks. And I didn't miss a practice. And then I wrestled in my freshman year, never missed a practice. And so even the guys that were beating me up in junior high, I was like just whooping the weight room. So I grew up being like a skinny kid, but I get like just working at it. But I happened to be a 3-year starter at Gilroy. And so my first year was the first time that we won a CCS title. Or sorry about that. It was Coach Ogle's first CCS title. So we won it on a dual meet. And what was really cool with me being like a 171 pounder, I beat a guy, and I think I beat him by 8 points. So we got a 4-point advantage. And that clinched it for us.
Oh, nice.
So we forfeited the 89, forfeited the heavyweight, and then we finished it off with like me. All right, cool. And that was our first CCS title.
Nice.
And then my sophomore year, we actually had a better team my sophomore year than the previous year. But unfortunately, there's some guys that, I had one guy who was like my workout partner. My workout partner the previous year, he didn't go out for the team, even though he was like a returning CCS placer. And then also like another kind of kick in the pants or kick in the nuts was, we had one guy on the team that was probably ranked number 2 in California. And in the middle of the year, he decided he didn't want to continue. I think like, I remember like Coach Ogle, like he's a real like a big intimidating figure, but also he had like the softer side. And I remember him just being honest with us, like, yeah, he didn't want to do it. And then even like later in the year, our team captain just didn't want to continue with wrestling either.
That's crazy.
And it was unfortunate. But then my senior year, we had a really good team. We did have a bunch of young guys. And it was the first time we won the CCS title, the championships. And we won it by 50 points or so. It was also cool. We took like 7th in California.
Wow.
I guess when I always think about that team, that was a good team. And we had a real good core. Everybody was really close. But I actually thought they could have been better. Because there was like 3 guys in the school that like grew up wrestling with one another. They're great. One was actually a 2-year starter. Like he was also varsity as a sophomore, varsity as a junior. But unfortunately, they were ineligible. So yeah, we took 7th.
Yeah.
But I still think about, I don't know if we would have been, maybe I don't know what the point difference was from 7th to 5th, but I think those guys could have won at least one match at state. So that would have been, a little bit of difference. So
Yeah.
hard to say. But one thing that I was kind of thinking about, like my wrestling at Gilroy, we used to have a huge rivalry with Hollister.
Mm-hmm.
So like Gilroy Hollister. And so at one time back in 1991, I think they were ranked number 1. We were ranked number 2.
Mm.
And since these are like kind of small towns at the time,
Right.
we had the match on a Friday night.
Nice.
And then the local paper literally did a write-up each day about that. Like they would pick a key matchup. They would have these, 2 high school guys' faces about who can win, who's got potential to win. They had 5 days straight of this matchup. And they dubbed it the match of the century. And I remember what was crazy. I actually wasn't supposed to be in that match because I didn't start out on varsity my sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
There's another guy named Dallas that actually started out as varsity, and I had a challenge for that match.
Oh, okay.
And remember I said I never cut weight?
Yeah. I
was only like 160 pounds, but the 160 pounder was Luke Corona.
Uh-huh.
And Luke was he took 7th his junior year in state, and he took 3rd his senior year, and he was beating me up every day. No way I was beating winning that one. But then I challenged Dallas, and I won. And I got a close match. And I remember we were going into the Hollister match, and they had a wrestler named Isaiah Rivera. And he was at that time ranked number 1 in CCS.
Oh, okay.
So I had to go into a meeting with like me, Dallas. I think Luke was there too, and Coach Ogle, because Luke was the captain, and maybe Jack Keener. And he's just like, "Hey, Chris, I'm thinking about putting Dallas in. Isaiah's really strong. We just can't get pinned. And I'm a small 71 pound. And I think it's the first time I've ever kind of stood up for myself with Coach Ogle, because he's just like he's a father figure. He's that
mentor.
Great mentor. And I had to be like, "No, Coach, I can do it. I can do this. I can do this." And I remember him just like looking at me, just like he's sitting in his like office chair, like, okay. And then what was crazy about the match, like most matches, you get some people in the stands, right?
Yeah.
It was sold out. It was on Friday night. If you ever go into Gilroy High School, like look how many people that place can hold.
Yeah.
It was sold out. It was like the thing, for like, oh my God, what are you doing? We're going to a wrestling match. It was the thing to do. Like both things had the cheerleaders. So all the girls I had a crush on were in the front row. and I'm sitting there in my skivvies. And I remember sitting there like, because there's like one light, it's all dark.
Yeah.
And you're doing those lineups. And I'm sitting there looking at the guy, Isaiah Rivera, and he's a big guy. And I'm like, how the fuck did I get myself into this? I should have let Dallas wrestle. I should have let Dallas. Damn it. Oh. And I gotta admit, I never had nerves like that. I still think those nerves were like just like a punch in the gut. Like I think I was going to the bathroom every 2 minutes before the match. And he probably had, I think he cut weight and then kind of bulked up, and he probably had 10 pounds on me on that match. And I remember we go to wrestle, and I did my job. I didn't get pinned, and I didn't lose by 8, so they got a 3-point advantage.
Yeah.
And so at that point, we were up by 13.
Okay.
Going into the two final matches.
Oh,
and so then we lost. The next match was just my buddy Mike Zimmershed. He wrestled a guy named Carlos Robledo, and then they didn't want to put in the hands of the heavyweight match, because the heavyweight match was our Mark Rios. I think he was ranked number 2 in CCS at the time, and then a guy named Jaime Garcia was ranked number 1 in CCS at the time for Hollister, and they went into like double overtime.
Oh,
but
damn.
We already won it. We already clinched it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it was kind of cool, like going back to school, and then I guess that guy Isaiah was like showing his frustration offside the mat, and a bunch of people telling me like, "Dude, you see how upset you got him? Like, you didn't get, you did your job," and I got a lot of praise for that.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, and then also wrestling Gilroy. In the following year, we go to Hollister, and the same exact thing. It's on a Friday night. they just built that gymnasium.
The bigger one?
Yeah, the bigger one. That was like, I think it was one of their first sold out events. So it's so sold out that like the bleachers are packed.
Yeah.
And it's standing room only for a certain portion. And they give us this little mat to warm up on, and we're bumping into people like, hey, dude, I'm warming up here. I'm warming up. Like, dude, all right. And the guy that I wrestled was this guy named Donnie Ryder. And Donnie actually, I was on nervous for that one. He's a good wrestler, but I think he pinned me earlier in the year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to go into the match thinking like, don't get pinned,
Right.
fucking harm you. And I got him. I got him that day. I ended up having a good rivalry with him, but I went 2-3 with him, but like we went 2-2 in high school, and then he pinned me in college. He ended up going to Fresno State.
Okay.
So then our senior year, they put it back on Wednesday. And it was just like,
it's a dud.
But like I remember just being like how intense those matches were.
Right.
And I literally thought every high school program was like that.
No.
Yeah. Because I remember going to, like when I was at San Francisco State, like, dude, like I was explaining the match to my buddies. And they're like, shut up, you're fucking lying. I go, no, I'm serious. And then my buddy Daniel, who's also on the Hollister team, he goes, yeah, we had that. It was sold out. And they're like, no way. And they're like, dude, we're serious. That's the way our wrestling was. And I'm like, oh, wow. But I remember those matches were tense. They're also, I think 1 year, I think maybe my senior year, I remember going out and there was like fights outside too.
Oh, shit.
I think some guys actually tried to jump Luke, the guy that was on our team from here. Yeah. He wasn't that like, now he lives in Hollister. So, man. But yeah.
The Buchanan Clovis gets like that.
Oh, theirs is way better. Theirs is intense. They got smoke coming out.
Oh, yeah. I took the team, like when I first took over.
Yeah.
We did like field trip status. We went and watched the duel between them.
Yeah.
Because we skipped a practice that day, but
it's worth it.
Oh, yeah. But now it's like, they usually have it on a day that we're either competing, and now it's like, all right, well, can we really afford to miss a practice?
Yeah.
But the ones that got to go experience that, I would say if you're a wrestling fan, you want a good high school experience. That's the one.
I actually watched those on YouTube. I was watching like a couple of the key matches on YouTube, and I mean, just to be in a dual meet where a guy who's ranked number 1 in California against a guy who's ranked number 3 in California, and they're in the same city.
Yeah.
Jesus, man.
How many times are they meeting in one season, right?
Yeah, I mean, because you're going to like, they're also a lot of times they're going to the Clovis Buchanan tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the Clovis West. Then they also go to like the Beast of the East, the same ones. So, and they all grew up probably wrestling with one another. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's I think wrestling in Gilroy was really fun. I think I still talk to some of my buddies from there. Oh yeah, doing good yourself. I loved it, and then after that, I went to Gatlin Junior College.
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually a really cool experience. I mean, I wasn't like all into wrestling. Like my first year, I was kind of like half in, half out. I had a really good coach. His name was Zeke Contreras.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of had this kind of ragtag team. None of us like had this big resume or anything, but I think he just like really just talked to us as like adults. Like, all right, cool. Like our condition was on our own. All right, you just go run this loop. I mean, there's a trail around Gatlin. You can't run it anymore, but there's a trail that like goes up and down. It's got all these hills.
Uh-huh.
And that was our condition. And you literally like, all right, go run, and he'd take off. Well, if you didn't do it, like you got treated like an adult, not like a kid where he has to watch you every single minute. And that also translated to the way that he coached too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember, not like I did anything funny, but I used to do some goofy stuff on the mat, and Ogle would give me a hard time about it, like, hey, don't do that. And like I wanted to be like this thrower in high school.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, hey, get away from that. Get away from that. You're too small, or something like that. But then I started doing it like in junior college, and I got pretty good. I started doing it, and Zeke was just like, you're going to do it good.
Yeah.
He didn't like, no, stay to this, stay to that. Didn't try to, make me do a specific style that he wanted. He's just like, oh, if you're going to do it good. And I got to be really good at it. So like one year, on my second year in junior college, I threw a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I threw a lot of people. I had a really good year. I had a really good year in junior college, my second year.
Yeah.
What sucks about it is I got my senior in high school and also my sophomore year in junior college. In the middle of the years, I was having a great year. My senior in high school, I got bronchitis in the middle of the year. Probably due to the bad lungs. And then my sophomore year in junior college, I was undefeated for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got staph in my leg. So like my upper leg looked like my lower leg.
Oh,
So
wow.
it took me out probably like 3 weeks from your season. That's
a lot.
And then because your leg. So I think I lost a step,
Mm-hmm.
and I lost several matches. And I didn't place in the state, but what sucks, I was ranked number 2 for the majority of the year,
Mm-hmm.
and then went and didn't. I placed in state, but not the results I wanted.
Yeah.
So that was fun. I mean, like I said, I think Coach. One funny story about my time at Gavilan was we go up to wrestling. I think Coach Zeke's gonna roll laughing if he hears this. We go up to Chabot, which is Hayward,
Mm-hmm.
and we go to Chabot, and we have 6 wrestlers. They have 10 wrestlers. Like Gavilan really didn't. I don't want to say they didn't support us, but they really didn't like
Support you.
No,
I'll say it.
I think some of the stuff actually literally came out of Zeke's pocket. But we got like 10-year-old like warm ups. Actually, the singlets we had to buy ourselves, and so we look like this ragtag bunch. We have 6 wrestlers. They have 10, so we're giving up 24 points, right?
Right.
So the way the match goes, before the match, a couple guys are doing WWF moves. A couple guys are like just joking around. We're laughing. We used to have this coach named Keith there. He's sitting there cracking jokes the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And then sure as shit, remember I told you about how I got in trouble one time with wrestling?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we wrestled on a Wednesday. And then I think it was that Monday or Sunday, I went up to Chico for Halloween. God, my dad was so pissed at me. I think I still smelled like alcohol. And so I barely won that match. And even like at one point, the guy kind of throws me off the side and I go face first.
Oh, shit.
I go face first and I'm laying there and I flip to my back and I'm like, holy shit. And then that was a tough match and I ended up pulling it out. But what's funny is we tied him.
Oh,
so we won all 6 of our matches.
Yeah.
And we gave up 24 points. So it was 24-24. So
and then you win on criteria.
Just like, I mean, hey man, I got a test. He goes, 22 hours in the day, Delgado. Once you figure something out. Well, so don't come. I'll see you at practice. Okay. And it was like straight to the point.
Yeah, that's simple.
And I laugh at people like, oh, Coach Jensen's a dick. He just wasn't your dad. He wasn't your babysitter. He wasn't,
Gave you life the way it was.
Yeah. And even like, he'd also like not, there'd be fights that break out in the gym, hostilities, things like that, just people going at it. And a couple times when the fights would break out, he'd kind of like just go to he wasn't in the middle like breaking it up. He let the other guys break it up, but he'd like run to the side and be like, oh shit, fight happening? Okay.
Yeah.
And I remember like I even got in a fight in my own practice with actually my best friend. But then the year that I took the red shirt year, they actually won. It was the only time they've ever won the Division II national title.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and even at San Francisco, one thing that's kind of unique about them, at the time that I was there, from 96 to 98, Title IX kind of put a whooping on the wrestling sport.
Mm-hmm.
So we wrestled a D1 schedule.
Okay.
Okay. Good. So the nearest Division II to us was Colorado.
Oh, okay.
So we went to wrestle Stanford, UC Davis, Cal State Bakersfield, Fullerton. We wrestled all of them. And like,
Back when we had a lot of
Yeah,
D1 schools.
but like San Francisco, like we did good. Like we beat Stanford. The 2 years I was there, we went 1-1 with them. 2-0 against Fullerton, 1-1 against Bakersfield. 0-2, we got whooped up by Bakersfield. Bakersfield had a really good team at that time.
Mm.
Bakersfield actually took third.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they had Stephen Neal, Pascal Barreau, was it Derek? God, it was the 167. Derek something or other. They also had a couple other guys out. They had a really good team. TJ Kerr is the coach.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, actually my friend Matt went down there too. But then also we'd go up to like Portland State.
Mm-hmm.
We beat them. They were transitioning from a D2 to a D1 at the time.
Oh, okay.
You know, I just got to compete. I always kind of joke around with people. I mean, I wasn't a good wrestler. Like my first year, I was 17-17.
Mm-hmm.
And then my second year, I was 13-17. But the majority of, I would say, 60 to 70% of it was D1 matches.
Mm-hmm.
And even so, my first tournament was California Collegiate, which was down in Fullerton,
Mm-hmm.
and I took third. And I have I think I have 4 tournament placings, 4 or 5. Kind of forgot. And that's like literally the same amount.
Old age, dude.
Because I know I took third in California Collegiate. I placed in the Southern Oregon. I took 4th 2 times. I think Cal State Bakersfield, I took 6th. But it was like maybe 6 out of 12 or 6 out of maybe 9. It's not nothing to write home about. But
You're on the medal stand.
I'm on the medal. You know what? They didn't even give you medals. You know what they gave you? You know what they gave you? Was shirts.
Oh, shit.
But the shirt was actually kind of cool because you can't wear your medal to a tournament. You're going to be a fucking dork. But if you wore a shirt, you'd be like, oh, shit, you placed there?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of knew they were legit. Like, oh, right. Okay. So I kind of wear those shirts to tournament. Like, hey. And I remember Bakersfield actually had they had different color shirt, or the printing was different for every single place.
Mm-hmm.
Like first place it was black, second it was blue, third it was this, and then I remember 6 was yellow. But yeah, I think San Francisco was a good experience for just wrestling. And I think there's a lot of times where I'm like, I fucking hate this sport. It sucks. You get all these injuries. I think I had 5 shoulder separations, all jammed hands, this, that. I've actually had meniscus on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I also have back spasms where it'd wake me up in the middle of the night, like somebody's punching me. But I didn't quit. I just didn't quit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the biggest takeaway. And somehow I got better grades when I was wrestling compared to I really got better grades wrestling than just being a regular student. Because you think you'd have more time, but you kind of hey, you want to go grab a beer? Yeah, I got all kinds of time. Compared to wrestling, you're all right, you practice this time. This is this time. This is this time.
Yeah.
All right, cool. That's it. Yeah.
There's no time for anything else.
Yeah. And also, I think I had some really good guys in my room that was around me. Because like I said, they won the Division II national title. So literally 3 of my everyday workout partners were national champs. So I had this guy, Greg Jackson. He was a 158 national champ.
Mm-hmm.
I'd wrestle him every day. Also a guy named Paul Healy, who's a 2-time All-American, or no, maybe 1-time All-American. Every single day I'd wrestle him. Terry Tezzolino, he's a 177 national champion. Every single day. I was a good partner. And then also this guy, Lee Lofton, that was a national champ as well. So I gotta just wrestle those guys every single day, and a couple other guys.
Kind of hard not to get better when you're wrestling good guys like that.
But it is easy getting your ass kicked too.
Hey, ass whoopings.
I mean, it could have been easy to quit, be like, oh man, I'm getting my ass kicked and now this and that, but I just fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm still there's a couple guys, even one of my roommates, he was a California state champ.
Mm-hmm.
And he went in from there to being oh my God, and just quit. I'm like, dude, you have all these accolades, national placers, this, that.
All this talent.
And just like I said, Jensen wasn't. He wasn't it wasn't your mama. He was the same to everybody.
Yeah.
And I think also Jensen was a pretty good coach because, like I said, he got all these degrees, and he knew how to like, all right, we're going to start off at this level, and by nationals and regionals, you should be at this level.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew how to taper things. Like you started out at like 2 hours and 15 minutes of practice, and then towards regionals and nationals, you're at 3 hours of practice.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be like his idea of a comp practice was an hour and a half of drilling, an hour and a half of live wrestling. Like he just did a lot of drilling. Like so, and sometimes you do like an hour on your feet. All right, 25 outside takedowns, 25 inside, 25. And then some days it'd be like literally, all right, 50 fireman's carries, 50 doubles, 50 snap downs. Okay, you drilled that much, and then even on set because you had to practice 6 days a week, and on Saturdays it was 2 hours of just like 2 hours, about maybe an hour and a half of just like standing,
Mm-hmm.
just standing. All right, cool. No breaks. Hour to hour and a half. But, yeah, hour and a half about just standing drill. Okay, cool. Imagine doing that right now.
Yeah, we.
Yeah, and then also you had to sign into the weight room too.
Uh-huh.
So he was big on like cleans.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, I used to do cleans. Like you got to sign the weight room and you got to go at least like two or three times a week. So weightlifting, practice, school.
Yeah.
No time for anything else.
Right.
It worked out.
So how would you say your wrestling background has helped you into your jiu-jitsu journey?
Oh, big time. I think wrestling also helped me like simplify. So like my mentality now when I compete, and I tell this to people, take down, smash pass. Take down, smash pass. That's it. I think people get like, oh my God, what if they do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this? Don't worry about what they're going to do. You just stay with your game plan and focus on it. But I think people like also want to do all these fancy moves in competitions. I need to do the Barambola. I need to do this. I need to do that. Oh, if he comes here, I'm going to hit this. I'm like, all right, man, just take down, smash pass, make it easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even though like I haven't talked to, unfortunately, Jensen's no longer, he passed away. But like, see, even like some stuff that he says, like I still like use.
Mm-hmm.
Like even Coach Ogle, score first.
Yeah.
That's why I go for a takedown. Score first. I don't like pulling guard because you go into a 50-50 position where they potentially might score first.
Mm-hmm.
I think also if you can, I remember like, I think it was Ogle to talk about that. If you can score within the first 30 seconds of somebody, it kind of puts them in a mental aspect like, oh shit, I'm losing.
Yeah.
Oh shit. And so you don't achieve that pulling guard, right?
Right.
I mean, I know I'm hating on some guard pullers now, but I think you just have the mentality score first.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I also do a lot of pressure stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because I'm trying to be like a dick or anything. I think it just
relates to wrestling.
Yeah, and also just remembers like Jensen, like apply the pressure, let him carry you. He's going to break down. He's going to get tired, and then you capitalize on it.
Yeah.
So why? And I know some people are like, oh, you told me I don't know jiu-jitsu because I do that, but I'm like, I'm trying to tire you out. I'm trying to like.
This is the game plan.
This is the game. Like my thing is take down, smash pass, and like that's even. I think competing is good for me because even I'm so much of a competitor, even though I don't have a competition coming up like within that near future. I'm still kind of thinking about it. I'm still thinking about like, all right, I want to get really good at passing. So like my first several years, I just played top. And if it was like a better guy with a better guard than me, I wanted to learn how to pass his guard. Because I know I'm going to go takedown, smash, pass.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if I'm going to go against a black belt when I was a blue belt, I'm going to stay on top because I want to get better at passing.
Yeah.
Because that's part of my game plan right then.
Right.
And I know like some guys like, oh, you need to get better at the guard. I'm like, why? I think I'm getting better at my guard now, but I still take down smash pass. So
yeah, that pulling guard, like I'm so not used. I'm used to it now, right? But coming from the wrestling, I was so not used to being on my back, right? Like that took a long time
Yeah, and
for me to get used to doing.
I got these things, and I'm not really like real vocal about it, but sometimes I don't like when like an upper belt is like, oh, you need to pull guard, like to these white and blue belts, like because they're giving the advice of what they would do in a match, right? You got
Yeah,
to
but
think
they
about,
might be more advanced.
yeah, exactly. Like you got to think about your guard when you're a white belt. You're literally getting beaten up because you're that new white belt in the room. You're getting beaten up by all these guys, so you have more of a defensive guard, right? Because you're just used to you're not scoring that much.
Smashed on, yeah.
And so why do you want somebody to, as a white belt, blue belt, to pull the guard when they don't know how to score points from it yet? Yeah, you know how to score points and be that coach, but
Right.
you gotta, and I think, you ever notice the difference in jiu-jitsu to wrestling in regards to coaching?
A little bit.
I guess sometimes like for when I was training for masters, I was hopping in that, I pay like a drop-in fee for Slingus Jiu-Jitsu in Cheyenne.
Hmm.
The head coach there is Adrian Garcia, and one thing that I like that he really does is he coaches his whole entire time that he's coaching or that turn the class. So there'll be like like 5 teams or five groups, and he walks and he coaches somebody like one thing. Like he'll coach the first somebody like one of the opponents in one, go to the next one, put one here,
Yeah.
and then he'd come back and he'd coach the opposing one. So I think like somebody getting used to hearing your coach yelling at you is good for competition.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just talking about this. The like the last competition, I fought someone and like I go out and my coach is talking and I focus on him so I could hear him through the mat.
Yeah.
Right. Somewhere down the way, like midway through the match, my ears picked up his coaching, and I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, do that. I want you to do that. Go ahead. Here's the leg. Yeah,
And
shoot a single."
I don't know if some people just aren't used to somebody like yelling at them because like when some people coach like and it's kind of tough. Like if you're just like one person teaching the class, it's hard to like coach, but also like if you're that black belt, there's a bunch of upper belts that also want to roll with you. So you're kind of appealing to it's tough. But like I think you do need to coach people. Like they need to get used to coaching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Our coach wanders the mat,
Yeah.
and I mean he's still pretty active too. So he'll roll with us. He tries to avoid me. You hear this? You're avoiding me. No, he's. We just rolled a couple weeks back.
Also at Jiu-Jitsu Therapy, Raul will do that too. Like the days that he's there. Sometimes he's doing it from the side, but you're getting used to hearing that.
Yeah.
So, and even like sometimes I don't say people don't coach. Like I know, like I have a cousin that does jiu-jitsu, and I'll watch him roll,
Mm-hmm.
and then when he goes with me, or can't go with me right now. But when he would go with me, we'd go to open mats, and he got used to like he'd roll, and when I usually wouldn't roll when he'd roll, he'd come back. I'd be like, hey, you're doing this, you're do that. You're putting your head too much far over. You're balanced. You're off. He pulled you into it. You got to sit back down. Continue to keep your head up. Like I talked to him like that,
Right.
and he's real receptive about that. And he'd go back and kind of fix that. But like compared to like when I was coaching, they're rolling and you're coaching right there, and they're coming off in between their rolls that 1 minute. Hey, you're not doing this. Your balance is off. You're not shifting your weight. Hey, you're dropping your knees to the ground. You shouldn't be dropping your knees. Balance. Put that pressure. Take your knees off the mat. Kind of
Right.
That's going. So yeah, it's different. I think it's different, but it's good. Like the difference between hobbyists program and a competitive program. Because wrestling, you're in competition right then.
Right.
Every single season is just a competition. So yeah, I think it's different. When's your next competition?
Next month, the 11th.
What do you do to prepare for it?
Right now, I go. So we as our gym have class, like technique class, Monday and Thursday.
Mhm.
Monday is a 2 hour class. Thursday is an hour and a half.
2 hours.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we don't have other days.
Oh, sure.
So, and then Friday is with our gym open mat.
Okay.
So we roll live,
Yeah.
and then I go to coffee crew. I'll try to hit some other place during the week. So like the goal is to get 4 to 5
Yeah. So you're really
times on
planning
the
out,
mat.
also planning out before a competition.
This one is the one that I've done the most. Like
Which
the
one is
other
that?
the most planning.
Okay.
Like this is as soon as I signed up, I was like, okay, I'm gonna hit all the coffee crews. I'm gonna do these things. And then like we went to Modesto one time. We were gonna go to Turlock this week, but someone flaked out. And then
Is that you?
uh so like I did an open mat 2 weeks ago in Merced.
Yeah.
At Gorilla in Merced, they do Marathon Monday, the first Monday of every month.
Marathon? Like how many live rolls is that?
Shoot. It says 6 to 7:15, but I left like at 7:10 and there were like still a lot of heads rolling. So, but yeah, I've been trying to get as much live rolling as I can, especially outside of our gym, right? And
Yeah.
I just I try to roll with the upper belts as much as I can. You
Yeah.
know, nothing against white belts or even the blue belts. Like I try to roll with someone that's at my level or above. I don't mind rolling with white belts either. Like, I mean, they offer a different aspect of the game, right?
Yeah.
Like, so
Sometimes you got to roll. I remember when I was at Salinas Jiu-Jitsu, I'd always go with this one guy. I actually nicknamed him Piss and Vinegar. Because he would just come out, just kind of not spazzy. Like he was decently technical, but he just came with a lot of energy.
right.
And I'd always, hey, let's go Piss and Vinegar. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I think his name was Jesse or Raul. No, it was something.
It wasn't this Jesse.
That Jesse couldn't pick up this cardio. So, no, he came with a lot of energy, and I'd always like kind of like, all right, let's go. You ready?
Yeah.
But I know from like when I compete, I only do one or two a year.
Mm-hmm.
But and I'm not saying like everybody should do this, but I think I put too much into it. So I literally plan out 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And within that 6 weeks, I'll try to get 4 to 5 times, maybe 4 times on the mat. But also, I'm also doing another workout. So I try to average a minimum 8 workouts per week, like 4 to 5 days of rolling, and then 4 days of some sort of cardio, weightlifting, kettlebells. I do a lot of power cleans.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes I used to do this one exercise where I can power clean like 135, but I do it for 5 minutes straight.
Okay.
And the other thing that I really focus on is because a lot of times when I roll with a heart rate monitor.
Yeah.
Or then when I work out, I with me. So I want to put my heart rate at about an average 170 to 175 for a duration of 5 minutes. For me to, because I think like, all right, when I compete in this 5 minute span, I got to have my heart rate so much to be able to get it. I mean,
right.
But I mean, I don't do that all the time. Like, because even like a couple times I competed, I'm like, all right, I can get through this guy. I think I've kind of squeezed by sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to squeeze by, get this guy in points, and I'm kind of thinking, well, I'm thinking it's going to be a long day. So, yeah. So that's how I schedule my time before a tournament. 6 weeks, but I also like, I cut down on the tacos, I cut down on the burritos, I cut down on the pizza, and I do cut down on the beer. But then like, let's just say I cut down on it. I don't need to give it up, but like 2 weeks before a big tournament, I'm not drinking beer.
I quit drinking.
Good for you, man.
We'll see how long it lasts, but it's been going. It'll be close to 3 months.
Yeah, so I need to. One of these days, I'll do that. I gotta one of the things I think like getting into jiu-jitsu at this older age was extremely beneficial for me because I got healthier. Like I said, when I started at Gilbert, they're like, "How long you had asthma?" And I'm like, "I have asthma?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Holy shit!" And so then I have to really, monitor that.
Uh,
I can't see. I have to really monitor that, and just stay like the more I roll, the more it kind of subsides. But it is what it is. But even like I was always doing like Saturday morning class. I've been taking a break. I'm not rolling that much these days, but I used to always do a Saturday morning class and a Sunday.
mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't drink Friday night or Saturday night because I would prefer the workout. Yeah, I'd prefer the workout more than downing that 12 pack.
Yeah.
And like I always tell people I was a little bit of a drinker before jiu-jitsu. I was living up in Sacramento and kind of going out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then during football season, Sunday fun day. And so
4 days.
So I was a little bit, when I got into jiu-jitsu, I kind of laughed. I guess I started drinking more water.
Mm-hmm.
And I went into the doctor and they're like, "Oh, you're 5'11". I was like, "No, I'm not. I've been 5'10" and a half since I've been 8th grade." And they're like, "Look." I was like, "Shit, I'm 5'11". And then I talked to my doctor. I was like,
"You're healthily hydrated."
Yeah, I was like,
so
"I'm 44 years old. I just grew half an inch. How the F did that happen?"
Yeah.
He goes,
"You could cuss."
Yeah. He's like, "You're putting more water in your system." I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "It looks like you're getting healthier." Yeah. Well, with you reducing the alcohol and drinking more water, it actually expands your cells. So yeah, that always happens. I'm like, okay. But then it came back down a little bit, but no longer 5'11". So, but yeah, I think jiu-jitsu has been good for me. I think, like I said, my goal is, I don't know what it was, but like, I think I told you earlier, like somehow when I first signed up for the jiu-jitsu gym, I always just stuck on like, I got to do this for 10 years.
Yeah.
I got to do this for 10 years. And I think
you're what, year 8 into it? Year 9?
I think whenever my start date was, 2015, 2016, or 7, 8, yeah, 8. I guess I got 2 more years. I don't say I got 2 more years till whenever, whatever. So I think I'm on a good track right now. But
so what happens at that 10-year mark?
I think I'm kind of stuck now. I think I have a young son. My son's 4.
Okay.
He literally, I mean, he's 4, so I don't say I trained him, but for me to give my wife a break when he was a baby, he was like 6 months old, 6 months or 9 months old, I'd take him to jiu-jitsu practice with me. I'd come with the stroller,
mm-hmm.
give him his little iPad, and he'd sit there for an hour and a half. I'd check on him from time to time, look over at him, but he goes with me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I'm always asking, like, "Roman, you want to do jiu-jitsu?" Yes. I think it'd be a pretty darn cool goal that one day that he gets, so far that, like, I don't really plan on giving up competing.
Mm-hmm.
I want to compete until I'm 60 or 70. I think I'm that a little crazy. Maybe if the doctor tells me to stop, or if I have a bad injury, but even if I've had bad injuries and I still like, all right, I'm going to heal up. I'll be fucking back.
Yeah.
Because, at this point, I don't really see myself stopping.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
that's good.
I think it's just part of the life now.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's kind of my goal to be known as a grappler than the wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. And, I still, this last year I did Masters,
mm-hmm.
And I placed. It does bug me that I didn't win. I know some people like have a mentality like, "Oh, that's cool, you placed. That's all good for you." I'm like, it really, I mean, I didn't really have a consistent place. I mean, I was jumping in with slingers jiu-jitsu and I was trying to do some stuff on my own.
Mm.
I didn't have that a great training camp. Uh, and it also sucked that, and I haven't really told too many people this, some people know, but I got COVID in the middle of that training camp.
So a, a second time.
I think this is my third time. And like I said, I got some bad lungs. They're not the healthiest thing. So I think I did 2 weeks. And I did, like I said, I usually do that 6-week camp. I did 2 weeks. First 2 weeks were, I wasn't rolling too much. I maybe got like 1 day a week. And then I got COVID. And then, so that took me out like 2.5 weeks. And then I still kind of felt the effects of it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until like that Monday that I was like, all right, because I left on a Wednesday and I competed on a Thursday. So I left on that Monday. I'm like, all right, that was a good practice. I think I'm going to do well. I think I'm going to do all right. I think I can. But I had to like, now I don't know how many other people do this, but I had to like, I do a lot. I watch a lot of videos before. I literally watch, like before the brackets came out, I looked up every single video on every single guy in that bracket.
Mm.
And I kind of knew like, okay, this guy, I want this guy, I can do this, I'm going to do this. So when the brackets came out, like the first guy that I competed with, his name was Ernest. That was his first gi competition. Like he placed silver in American Nationals. We had a similar opponent named Tony Kell. He was actually beating Tony Kell, and then Tony got him. But he had all these other accolades.
Mm-hmm.
He has a higher thing. And I saw him doing a bunch of takedowns. I was all right. This is gonna be a takedown heavy game. Let's go. And then he pulled guard. I don't know what it was, So, and then my second match, same thing, very similar guy. I saw him being very, very takedown heavy on it. I think he had like 6 or 7 videos up, and I think I watched all of those. And he was like the number 4 ranked guy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then same thing, he pulled guard on me. Like,
Really?
He was a nice guy. I was talking to him afterwards, and it was kind of like, yo, man, you gave me no openings at all. You gave me no openings. He was just like kind of funny. He was just like walking away, like, you gave me no openings. You gave me no openings at all. Like walking away, like shaking his head. I'm like, all right, man, sounds good. And then the third guy, his name was like Hermoso. He was from Six Blades, and he was also like a guard puller.
Mm-hmm.
And what was crazy about competing against him, one of the guys that I'm a big fan of in jiu-jitsu is Zanjay Ribeiro.
Mm-hmm.
He's like was an ADC placer, several world champ. He's had these, great matches with Hadra Gracie. And that was his coach.
Oh.
And so like from me to Bam Bam right there, he was like coaching him like, oh shit. I think I asked for an autograph. Hey, that's actually I don't know why more people don't go to Masters. Like if you're a fan of Masters, you should go. Cause like there's literally like a lot of like Zanjay, I was also at one point standing next to John Danaher, Nicholas Marigali, Rafael Lovato. They're all just right there from me to you. Because they're not like, I mean, in our world, they're like big stars, but like the regular world, they just walk around. They do their own grocery shopping. But you get to see all of them. And even like I went to go buy a t-shirt for Hadra Gracie, and he was right there. I was like, oh shit. And so like, if you're like a fan of that world, the sport, you should go. So I actually think more schools should. I think more schools should promote it too.
Yeah, we're supposed to. My coach, he said him and I are going to do it next year.
I think your whole schools. I mean, it's different. I think, like for me, I said I do a 6-week camp.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be a good value to a gym if they all did it.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like, all right, guys, here's our goal: 6 weeks. You got 50 people in your room. All right, who's signing up to compete? Maybe 20 guys raise their hand. Okay, you 20. We're going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're going to do comp class. You 30. Be a team player. Be a team. Like you're not going to compete, but be right next to that guy.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, hey man, if you're going to compete, I'm going to be here 3 days a week too. Oh, okay, cool. And maybe off on those Tuesday, Thursday. Hey man, let's go meet in the park. Let's go do some sprints. And then you all have that goal together. So when that person wins,
you all won.
You all win, man. And then even like as a value to a gym, all right, guys, every single year we're going to Vegas. We're going to go. Some guys are going to compete. We're going to cheer you on. We're going to be a team. We're going to give you that support. Also, when that 6 weeks comes out, reduce. I think for me, I don't say I'm a better person, but that during that 6 weeks where I'm cutting down this, cutting down that, waking up early, doing those 5 a.m. workouts, you know, in my home gym, doing those 6 a.m.s, I'm a little bit of a better person. I think you kind of go through life just kind of like, but when you got that goal, got that focus, all right, great. I'm checking my heart rate. I'm checking my stuff. I'm cutting down this. I'm cutting down that. Getting sugar out.
When you get on that grind,
you get a little bit. You're a little bit better version of yourself, and I don't know why gyms don't promote that. You know?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then also just go. Imagine like when you travel to Vegas with your team, because like there's some teams they promote it big. You know, like for me, I also. For this training camp, I was invited to go to Claudio Franco's Santa Cruz. My friend Tim Fagan had me in. They had 25 guys. So on Sundays, they had a very nice comp practice. It's ran by Nate Mendelson. And it's literally like my idea of a comp practice. Like we started out doing a lot of drilling. We started out doing a lot of situationals. And also Fernando Faria. Is that what it is? I forgot. A lot of drilling, a lot of situationals, live wrestling, standing, on your back, on your stuff. Nate and him did a really good, like, my idea of a comp practice.
Right.
And it was like 7 days a week, and then they had like 25 guys compete, and then another like maybe 5 or 6 guys that are just there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think like I think it should be encouraged. Like, because I think just like that Masters tournament, there's 10,000 competitors there.
It's crazy, huh?
I think it can get bigger.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hey, you know, trip out this. You know, one thing that I did. So you know, so I finished up competing, and then I went down to the bar, grabbed some pizza. Hey, like I said, I like beer.
Yeah. Okay.
I went down to go grab some sliced pizza. I start talking to this guy, Norm, and we're having this conversation. And then we're at these, like, you know, you just sit down and there's these big tables.
Yeah.
Across from us was 2 Brazilians. And I recognized one of them, like, okay, all right, cool. And I think I just started talking, like, hey, man, how are you going? And he goes, hey, I'm Anato Tavares. I was like, oh, shit. He goes, well, I have 400 members in my school. I have an association of 38 schools.
Holy cow.
But what was so cool about it, and I almost wish people kind of did this, I just got to ask him questions. He started jiu-jitsu in like 1974. And he was talking about how, like, him coming up, he got his black belt from Carlson Gracie. He was in that Carlson Gracie line. He opened up his school in Rio. And then when Pride was big, Carlson would send like Vanderlei Silva, Murilo Bustamante to Hanato.
Okay.
And so like he even told me the story. He goes, I got an argument with Carlson because he goes, hey, Hanato, how come you're not promoting Vanderlei? He's a blue belt. He should be higher. He's like, hey, no, he's knocking everybody out. I'm not going to promote him until he taps somebody out. He's not using jiu-jitsu. He's not using jiu-jitsu. and also all these other guys. So then Carlson took him out of that school, took him out of Hanato school and put him elsewhere to get him, you know, this. And then he had all these other, about all the Pride, and also talking about, like, I talked to him for about an hour and a half, just like literally picking his brain. He was telling me the history of it. And also the reason why he came to Florida, like he had his one school and somehow Carlson set it up. He goes, hey, I'm opening up this other school. Hanato, I want you to teach here. I'm going to bring you over. And somehow he helped him with immigration. And so, and then he started like jiu-jitsu in Florida. And so he built his school there. And I started also helping out the fighters there, helping out build it up, you know. And it was just a really cool. And I almost wish like we could bring him over, do a seminar, and then like a dinner where everybody just kind of picks his brain and let's be his historian on jiu-jitsu.
That'd be cool, huh?
I think
a little Q&A.
I guess maybe because I'm just like a history dork sometimes on that stuff. I think there's just like a lot of figures like I read, you know, Hosels, right?
Yeah.
So he died early. I think one of the reasons why I like that idea of a grappler is like hearing about him because I mean he's a Gracie. started doing jiu-jitsu from a baby, but then also started wrestling. You started jiu. So that will come out. And so I'm a big fan of holes, but just like the like, he was a wrestler, judo, this, like he's a grappler. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
the idea of a grappler, not just one singular thing. Wrestler or jiu-jitsu. He's a grappler. And
Right.
imagine how good you are if you're like the leader of the family. He was the leader before Hickson. He was the leader,
Mm.
and then also he makes the national team for wrestling, makes the national team for judo, and competes in the Pan Ams on both. Like how good is that guy? Like,
Yeah.
and even like he only had like 12 black belts, and one of them was Mauricio Stambuski,
Mm-hmm.
and you know he's like a big name. He ended up having a school in London, but that's Hodge Gracie's dad. So like, I just think that like when you talk about jiu-jitsu, he's probably like that most interesting figure you can
Yeah.
do it.
That's cool. That's cool. So I have a couple more questions. What's your most memorable moment with jiu-jitsu?
Um, yeah, that's a good question. I guess I went to Pans. Like
Uh-huh.
I was trying to get guys from my gym to go to because at one time Florida was real cheap, and so I packed up my family and I trained kind of by myself to get going. I didn't get too much support. And I went to Florida and won that. Oh, so I won Pans. I won my weight and I won the absolute. And I got to admit, I competed with this guy in the finals. His name is Tony, and me and him are buddies.
Uh-huh.
I used to sponsor him actually, and I just knew he was really good. Like he actually he just travels the nation, competing a lot. He had all these double golds, several world championships, and I just knew I was like, all right, I just want to compete against this guy. And so beating him in the finals, I won in a really close match. Was just like, all right.
Nice.
Then I was in Florida drinking. I guess that. A lot of friendships. I think it just got me healthier.
Yeah.
So I guess that's about
It like commenting on getting healthier.
Yeah.
My coach told me I had got hurt, pulled my groin, so I was out like I was at practice, but I wasn't training at all for like 3 months, and put on like 40 pounds. I was drinking every day, not training at all, not doing anything. So I put on like 40 pounds, and he was doing stripe promotions to some of the white belts, and he brought me up to give me one for my blue belt. And he's like, in order for you to get your purple belt, you need to get yourself healthy. And after that, that was that slap in the face, the wake up call. Like, okay, you let yourself get out of control, right? So now I have a nutrition coach.
Yeah.
You know, I'm doing nutrition. I'm down a few pounds, feeling better.
I gotta admit, like for next year, like am I going to compete at Masters again? Like I didn't do well this last year, but I'm like I'm gonna get a nutritionist. I had a bad weight cut, still COVID was fucking me up. I need
So last question. What advice do you have for anybody just getting started on their journey?
Honestly, I think
Okay. We're on the last question.
Okay. I guess.
Is that good? Good, Chris?
Yeah. I was gonna say my advice is just don't dip your toe in. Give it a year. Because like for me, when I walked in, I was like, I got to do this for 10 years because I had this ulterior motive of the same amount of years I did wrestle, I want to do the same amount of years jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Give it a year. Give it a, don't fucking just dip your toe in and like, oh, yeah, give it a year. After that 1 year, you'll probably be hooked, but give it that fucking year.
Yeah. Cool.
Hopefully it comes out, man.
Let me go get the rash guard. I forgot it. What size are you? Extra large?